One of the things that was a game changer for me after my son's death were signs. These signs are one of the ways that our relationship continues. And yes, I said continues. My son has sent so many signs over the years, it's a topic I could talk about for days. So today, that's what I'm going to do. I am going to share some of those stories with you, but more importantly, I'm going to challenge you with a game that will help you develop this same type of relationship with your own child or loved one. I'm Emily Graham, bereaved parent and grief coach at After Child Loss. If you've experienced child loss and are navigating life after that loss, start with some help by subscribing and clicking the bell. One of the most common questions that I get is about signs. People want to know, how do I get signs? How do I know it's a sign? And first of all, I tell people to trust your gut. You'll know. I once had somebody tell me I would recognize my son in every single sign that I got. And it sounds really strange, but that's exactly how it feels. So let's start with some stories. My son sends me 12s and hearts, and he sends my oldest daughter pennies. So most of my signs center around those things. I know they're signs because they correlate to something that I've said or I've thought that I directed at him. They always come around dates or milestones typically. And if you follow my Facebook page for my personal blog, Just Playing House, I share a ton of these stories. Now, just this past weekend, I shared one in particular. I was out running errands. I had to run into Dollar General. As I was walking the aisles, I remembered that I needed to pick up a loofah for in the shower. Now, Cameron's favorite color is green, and so we always find ourselves choosing green if there's a color choice. And I'm digging through the container of loofahs, right? I'm looking for green, and as I'm doing that, I say, I need green for you. The sign came as I walked to the back of my car to load the bags, and there at my feet was a penny. Now, pennies are usually for my oldest daughter, but I picked it up because I knew that it was his way of telling me that he heard what I said. Now, when things like this happen, I'm always reminded that people who don't get signs or don't understand them just assume that every penny we get or every heart we see is from Cameron. But it's not really how it works. So in the car, right, I'm thinking about this and how it's different. When it's a real sign, as I said, it's going to follow something that gives it meaning. So at my second stop, and I'm walking the hallways at Lowe's, and I'm thinking still about signs, right? And when I walked out to load my bags into the car, there was a second sign. And it was Cameron's validation that the first sign was a real sign. And it also confirmed for me that I wasn't just thinking about him because I saw a penny, right? So there on the ground in the exact same location that I had found the penny was a heart. Now he made sure that it was a heart because that's normally what I would find. And so that's the way that he sort of connected everything together. I took a picture. My phone is full of these types of pictures. I take a picture of every sign that I get. Now let's go back to kind of an earlier story. Cameron died, he was 7. His 8th birthday was the first one that we celebrated without him. Friends and family joined in that year just as they had for his memorial, and we all sent Cameron balloons. Now, attached to each one of those balloons was a little tag with a note that shared his story, and it included an email address so that people could follow up and let us know that they had found a balloon. Now, the night before his birthday, I said to my husband, wouldn't it be really cool if we had 8 balloons, exactly 8, reported back to us? Now, over the next couple of months, we're monitoring this email address, right? And can you believe that we ended up with exactly 8 balloons that were found? I shared those stories on my blog. And the next year, he would have turned 9. So this year, we went back to our traditional approach to birthdays. And every year, I always bought the kids balloons. So I bought 12 balloons to bring home. Now, there's sort of a funny side story that year because as they're pulling balloons out, they laid one on the table that said, "Welcome back." And I couldn't resist buying it, right? Because I thought that's really kind of funny and he would get a kick out of it. So I come home with 13 balloons. And the night before his birthday, 2 of them get really droopy and they fall on the floor. Now, this is unusual because I always bought from this place. We have always had them for days and days and days. Regardless, I'm down 2 balloons. So I said to my husband, wouldn't it be really crazy if tomorrow we only had 9 balloons to send on his 9th birthday? He was listening. That next morning, I had another balloon laying on the floor. That took us down to 10. So this next part sounds really crazy and I can't explain it, but as we are getting ready to go out and send him his 10 balloons, I grabbed the bunch. One balloon literally wilted in my hands and fell to the ground. We ended up with exactly 9 balloons that would fly. And so, as I said, he heard us. Now let's talk about the game. This is a game that I play with my son, and it's one that I've gotten my husband to start playing, even though he's a bit skeptical. Now it works like this. Think of something that has meaning or significance for the two of you, something that only you guys would know, and then ask them to send it to you. You can ask them in your thoughts, or you can say it out loud. It doesn't really matter. But then wait. This was a game that I played early on, and then I came across a video. And in this video, somebody referenced a purple elephant, and they were telling people, play this game and ask for a purple elephant. So, as I mentioned it to my husband, he's a skeptic. He was not interested, right? He was like, this is just going to be a coincidence. It's not going to be real. It's just going to be something you're going to come across. So I was like, you know what? Here's the video. We are just going to ask for a purple elephant, and I'm going to prove to you that, this is just obscure enough. I'm going to prove to you that it's going to come randomly. So he was reluctant, and I asked for it, and I waited. Now, as I said, I've been playing this game with Cameron for a while, so I knew that this was going to happen. And one night while I was making dinner, my oldest had turned on the TV, my oldest daughter, to entertain my youngest daughter. And so in the background is Paw Patrol, and it's playing. Now, as soon as dinner was ready, I spun around and I looked at the TV to tell the girls, hey, it's time to eat, and I saw the purple elephant. There on the screen, the only animal in the background was a little baby elephant who just happened to be purple. Now, I quickly grab my phone, right, and I take a picture so that I can prove to my husband that we got a purple elephant. And whatever happened, it convinced him to at least try the game. So, being the scientific person that he is, he really worked hard to come up with something that there was almost 0% chance he could ever come across. And so it turned into a really big test, right? He asked for a flea circus. So, like the old school ant farm idea, but in the cartoons you used to see a flea circus. And he waited for 3 weeks. Now, for this one, I don't know that he would have ever seen it if I hadn't been sitting beside him on the couch. So he likes to watch old TV shows, and the show at the time that he was watching was Night Court. And I was only half watching, but my head snapped up as soon as I heard it, and I made him rewind it so that he could watch it again. In the show, the characters are standing in the courtroom, and I don't really recall the exact plot, but the judge was waiting for Bull to come back. And he walks into the courtroom and he asks, where have you been? And so Bull launches into this story about being late because animals were literally fleeing the circus. Now, I told my husband, the sign that you get isn't always exactly the way that you expect it to be, right? It's not always going to be a circus of fleas, but instead, this reference to fleeing the circus was too hard for him to dispute. So he tried it again. This time he asked for a gold dragon. Again, he waited 3 weeks, and this time he was watching a UFC fight. And the guy fighting, his nickname was Dragon, and it was written on his shorts in yellow, so Golden Dragon. So he tries again, and he chooses the word platypus. He's again watching a TV show, and the character is playing the game of Scrabble, and he's trying to figure out a word to play. And he comes up with platypus. He even mentioned it a couple of times during the episode, so it was sort of like reinforcing it, right? This game has become a staple at our house, and every time somebody reaches out to me and asks about signs, I always challenge them to play this game. Now, one of the moms was so nervous about, what should I choose? What should I ask for? And it got to be this really kind of overwhelming thing for her, and I said, look, it doesn't matter what you choose. Just choose a purple elephant. Make it easy. And so that's what she did. Within a couple of days, I had a message from her, and she had sent me this photo that she had taken. She was walking the aisles at Marshall's, and in a random spot was this toothbrush holder, and it was a purple elephant. And so I said, don't second guess it, right? Just keep playing the game. I know that they will keep on sending the signs, and when they do, I would love to hear about them. If you've played this game, if you've got some of your own signs that you want to share, drop them into the comments. Then like the video, subscribe, or share it with other people on their own path. Thank you.